Welcome back, everybody, to the First Strike Podcast. I am your host, and I go by the Marathon Don. This is officially episode number 8, coming to you live and direct from the land of the rising sun. That's right, Tokyo, Japan. I'm out here for the Tokyo Marathon, but this week was an action-packed weekend. We had Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach. We had John Cena turning heel at the Elimination Chamber, and UFC had a fight in that event. So there's so much action to unpack. Let's get right into it. Gervonta Davis, Lamont Roach. It's a majority draw, a phenomenal fight. Big shout out to both fighters who put everything on the line. Gervonta Davis takes a knee for the first time in his career. There's so much controversy. Everyone's saying that it should have been ruled a knockdown, but I'm saying different. Have you ever fought with grease in your eyes? Have you ever fought with grease in your eyes? No. If the answer is no, which I thought it will be, then we are not in a position to have any opinion on that. Listen, it is not a knockdown, and it's okay that it was not ruled a knockdown. Let me tell you why. There's so many fights where if the mouthpiece falls off the fighter, if something out of the ordinary happens, the fight gets stopped, there's a timeout, and that's perfectly fine. In the UFC, it happens all the time. I've seen boxing fights, where the string is hanging out the glove, and they call a quick break, cut the string off, and get right into the action. Gervonta Davis was not hurt at all at any moment. He simply had grease from his eyes, from his hairstyle, and that's fine. I mean, if it's burning his eyes, and that's not something that Lamont Roach caused to happen, it's okay if he takes a few seconds. I mean, honestly, it was 4 or 5 seconds at most that he took to go to his corner, wipe his eyes. He didn't get any unfair advantage because of that. Once again, none of us have ever fought with grease in our eyes, but I'm very sure that if he had communicated to the ref, yo, I got grease in my eyes, the ref was going to call a timeout either way. So if he can't see, what do we want him to do? Start absorbing punches from Lamont Roach? That actually would, if he would have continued and not take the knee, that actually would have given Lamont Roach an unfair advantage, because it was clear that something had affected him. So if he called a quick timeout to go clear it, that's perfectly fine. If a fighter drops their mouthpiece out their mouth, a timeout is going to be called. If there's something out of the ordinary wrong with the boxing gloves or their outfits or whatever the case is, they've called timeout. It's happened before in the past, and guess what, folks? It's going to happen again in the future. Once again, shout out to both fighters for a tremendous, phenomenal matchup, phenomenal fight out there in Barclay in Brooklyn. I was tuning in from all across the world over here in Japan, and it was just fireworks. I thought Lamont Roach looked great. I actually thought that he would actually be the smaller fighter because he was moving up in weight, but he actually looked bigger than Gervonta Davis. So it was a very competitive matchup. I felt like Gervonta Davis landed the bigger shots with the bigger pop. I felt like Lamont Roach, he had a little bit more fluidity to a few of his combinations. Very, very good footwork, but for the most part, both guys stood in the pocket, trading blows, trading counter shots all night, and the fight should have gone to Gervonta Davis. I don't think it should have been ruled a draw at all. And of course, there should be no controversy regarding any knockdown at all, because it wasn't a knockdown. So, it was simply a timeout to wipe the grease from his eyes. And once again, where do we go from here? I think that Gervonta Davis, I would like for him to move on and fight a fresher opponent. I don't want to see a rematch. I feel like I saw everything that I needed to see. Lamont Roach, all credit to him, phenomenal fighter. I think that he proved to the world that he should not have been an underdog at all, or he should, maybe not the favorite, but not such a big underdog the way he was. I think that Lamont Roach just secured himself a few big fights at that weight class and has become a name. If he wasn't a name before, now everyone's going to know who he is because of this fight. So he showed that he's a world-class fighter and that he should belong at the top of the rankings. So for Lamont Roach, I think next for him would be a marketable fighter. Maybe someone like Isaac Pitbull Cruz. That would be a phenomenal matchup to really see where he stands. As for Gervonta Davis, I would love to see him fight someone like Teofimo Lopez. I know Teofimo's fighting at 140. The Shakur Stevenson fight, I mean, I don't want to see that right now. I think Shakur Stevenson still needs a few more big, high-profile wins to earn a shot at a fighter like Gervonta Davis. That's a big money fight, and I just don't think that Shakur has done enough to warrant that big fight. I think Gervonta Davis versus Teofimo would be a phenomenal fight, or if not, let's go out there and let's get that fight against Lomachenko. I think Lomachenko at the tail end of his career, and if he only has 1 or 2 fights left, why not a mega fight against someone like Gervonta Davis? I think styles make matchups, and that's the type of matchup that's gonna guarantee fireworks. So that's my analysis of the fight. Was it a knockdown? Absolutely not. And was it a draw? I don't think it was a draw in my opinion. I think that the fight should have gone by the split decision to Gervonta Davis. I think that he landed the more meaningful power shots of the fight. But once again, it's a draw, so no harm, no foul. Neither fighter gets a loss, and I think that in terms of marketability, this fight really propelled Lamont Roach career and his status much higher. So shout out to both fighters. Congratulations on a great event in Brooklyn. So moving on to the other notable event of the weekends, there was 2 more. UFC had a fight night, and then there were some notable victories. But in the main event, Cape just had a great TKO. That was there was a little bit of controversy there with some vicious eye pokes. So I think in UFC we still got to figure out a solution for those eye pokes. I think it was like 3 eye pokes in a row at the main event. But once again, until it's something where the referee starts enforcing the rules a little bit more, maybe taking a point away, it's always going to be something that's up for discussion. Like, okay, what are we going to do about the eye pokes or the impacts that they have on these fighters? But overall, it was a very quiet event where nothing major happened that was super notable. The other notable event was the Elimination Chamber that was hosted by the WWE. And in this particular event, the biggest news of the night is John Cena turning heel. So if you didn't watch the event, what happened was at the end of the event, at the conclusion, John Cena, he's in the ring with Cody Rhodes, The Rock, and Travis Scott. And he finally, for the first time ever in his career, actually not the first time, because he turned heel prior. When he first joined the WWE, he had the gimmick of where he was a rapper, and during that time frame when he was United States champion, he was a heel character. So I know a lot of folks want to say like, hey, this is the first time he turns heel. This is a big moment similar to the NWO. Yes, it is a massive moment. One of the biggest moments in the last decade of the WWE. However, it's not the first time that John Cena has turned heel. He's functioned as a heel before when he had his rapper gimmick, and he would rap, do his raps and do his freestyles against other great wrestlers. But he served as a gimmick, and if you remember during that time frame, he used to have this chain that he wore around his neck, and at the end of the fight, at the end of the matches, he would use that almost like as a brass knuckle to hit his opponents. So this is not the first time John Cena has turned heel. He's been heel before, and he was a pretty cool heel back then, and I'm very confident he's going to be a pretty cool heel right now. So to see that moment with him and The Rock embracing, they lock eyes, and then The Rock just does the death's taunt right there, the classic Undertaker rest in peace, indicating that John Cena, that it was time. John Cena completely demolished Cody Rhodes, had left Cody Rhodes a bloody mess, and it was such a big moment and so much mayhem going on that even Travis Scott joined in on the fun and punched John Cena, punched Cody Rhodes right in the face. And I think that this was very reminiscent of when Dennis Rodman was involved with the NWO, and I'm super excited. I think this is a great time for WWE. On the road to WrestleMania, you have one of the biggest heel turns of the last decade, if not, I mean, I don't want to say the last, it has to be the last decade. I can't think of any other notable heel turn to this extent. Maybe when the last biggest heel turn before this one, it might have been when Seth Rollins turns on the Shield and he hit them with the chair. That was a pretty big moment. But in terms of right now and in the last decade, nothing beats this. I think this is the Power Trip 2.0 when Triple H and Stone Cold had joined forces. I mean, seeing The Rock together with John Cena, both as bad guys, I can't think of a bigger power trip or bigger collective in WWE ever. And these are two megastars in the ring and outside the ring. So to see them join forces, I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I'm so excited. I think this is exactly what WWE needed on the road to WrestleMania. It's buzzing all across massive media, all across pop culture. Everyone's talking about John Cena turning heel, and I think that it just adds to the story with Cody Rhodes. I mean, it was already a story with The Rock and Cody Rhodes, and everyone wants to see the dream match, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, but now John Cena's the bad guy. How's Cody Rhodes going to overcome these odds? What is Travis Scott's involvement? What is this new collective going to be called? I would love to see them start a brand new group together. Those three be the founding members. You know, stay away from anything bloodline related, and let's start a Power Trip 2.0. The Rock, John Cena, Travis Scott as the manager and just a third person, and maybe add someone else down the line. Make it 4 members, and that way, once The Rock and John Cena kind of like fall away, you can start building this new guy that takes over the reins. So there's so much potential, and I just think it adds so much magnitude to WrestleMania. Now you have Cody Rhodes having to overcome the odds again, but this time he's going up against 2 pillars of the industry, 2 guys that have Hall of Fame careers that are definitely going to be on the Mount Rushmore of WWE. Can Cody Rhodes beat John Cena? Can John Cena break the all-time record for most championship wins, most championships, right? Which stands at 16 by Ric Flair. He's actually tied the record right now for 16 World Championship reigns. John Cena has 16. The Nature Boy has 16. If he becomes champion for the 17th time, he'll break the record and be the sole owner of the most world championships ever in pro wrestling history. So I can't wait to see where the story goes from here. I think that the Elimination Chamber was a phenomenal pay-per-view with so many great matches. But once again, I think that was the biggest moment of the night. John Cena finally turning heel is something that we're going to be talking to our kids about, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen on the road to WrestleMania. So looking forward this upcoming week, it's Alex Pereira, Chama. You know, he has a big title defense against Ankalaev, who's actually been on a tear, and this is going to be his, in my opinion, probably his toughest test at light heavyweight. Especially because Ankalaev has a very strong wrestling, grappling orientated style. Even though in his last few fights he's showcased his stand-up skills as well, I do think that it's Alex Pereira's biggest test. You know, Ankalaev has been on a tear. He hasn't lost a fight in quite a while, and this is going to be a fight that's going to be very evenly matched. So I can't wait to see that pay-per-view. In the co-main event, Justin Gaethje, they just announced his new opponent. For those that didn't know, Dan Hooker, he's injured. He injured his hand and could not make the fight. So they switched him out for a rematch with Rafael, Fizov, who they actually had a fight before, and Justin Gaethje won that fight by decision. So now the co-main event. You know, I wasn't really excited about this rematch because we've seen it before, and we actually seen it pretty recent. You know, they fought within the last 2 years. I would have preferred to see Justin Gaethje fight someone new, but as a way to maintain him on the card, I think it's a phenomenal matchup. And for Rafael Fiziev, I don't think he's even fought since that fight. So, you know, he's been inactive for quite a while, over a year. So for him to come back, it's going to be great to see him. It was a very competitive matchup the first time. I don't expect anything different. So this upcoming week, I'll definitely post my lock of the week. So look forward to that, where I'll be posting my predictions and sharing my predictions with you guys. But other than that, that wraps it up for episode number 8 of the First Strike Podcast. If you love what you see, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you like, you comment. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think about Gervonta Davis taking a knee? What do you think about John Cena turning heel? What's your opinion, Alex Pereira versus Ankalaev? You know, do you guys think this is the biggest test? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. As always, this is the First Strike Podcast, where we strike first, we talk later. I am the Marathon Don, and I am out.